Now, being that the Quran was revealed gradually, ayah by ayah, or passage by passage, what was the very first passage that was revealed to the Prophet?
The very first passage that was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he was pondering about the creation and thinking in solitude in a cave in the mountain, it was quite interesting. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was illiterate. He could not read or write.
His whole life?
His whole life. Although he was a very smart merchant and trader, and later on statesman, leader, but he was illiterate, because that was the norm in his society. Few people were literate. And yet, the first ayah that was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was what can be translated as read or recite. And that's why when he saw the angel, and the angel told him, read or recite, he wondered, what should I read? I cannot read. What should I recite? So the angel repeated the command 3 times, and then the 4th time, the ayat started being revealed. Read or recite in the name of the Lord who has created the human from a clot of blood. Read in the name of your Lord, the generous, the one who has taught with the pen. He taught the man what he didn't know.
So those were the first ayat that was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Exactly. And when he received the ayat, he could not know exactly what that was, so he was quite scared. Was he touched by an evil spirit or something like that? And later on, a knowledgeable person who was actually the cousin of his wife told him, this is exactly the same line of text that used to come to the previous prophets and messengers. And if you told me the truth, if what you told me right now is what happened, you are the prophet that we have been waiting for.
Now, how old was Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he was first revealed?
When he received the message, he was 40 years old, and he passed away at the age of 63. That's why the message spanned over almost 23 years.
Now, why do you believe God, over the years, has sent books or guidance to mankind?
Because humans by nature are forgetful, and humans by nature are sinful. So although there was the initial covenant when God created Adam and Eve for them to worship the Almighty, they erred, and they were descended from heavens, from paradise to the earth, with the promise that if they lead a faithful life, they're going to return again in the afterlife to their place of origin, which is the paradise. However, humans started making mistakes and forgetting and so on, especially with the interference of the devil, Satan, who was cursed for disobeying the Lord, and he pledged to the Lord that he's going to try to bring with him to the hellfire as many humans as possible. So God the Almighty, with his mercy, started sending messengers from time to time with message to remind and to renew the faith of the people when they have strayed from the straight path. So along that path we find so many milestones with the Prophet Adam, Prophet Noah, Prophet Abraham, Moses, Jesus, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all, and so many other prophets who are mentioned in the Quran, and many of them are mentioned in the Bible as well.
Now, you mentioned Moses, Jesus, all these prophets are mentioned in the Quran?
Absolutely. They are mentioned by name in the Quran with their story. How it started, for example, it starts with the birth of the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. And in fact, the story of the Prophet Moses is the most repeated story in the Quran.
Now how would an illiterate Arab living in Arabia at the time know about all these stories? From where?
Again, that's one of the miracles of the Quran, because God the Almighty told the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, about things in the past, about things in the present at his time, and about things that are going to happen in the future. God the Almighty told the Prophet, peace be upon him, about things that were not known to the lay person at the time, or even to educated people at the time, including some miracles of science that we keep detecting and finding out each day.
Now, you mentioned that we also as Muslims believe that Jesus was sent a book, Prophet Moses was sent a book. There's many prophets preceding Prophet Muhammad that were revealed revelation.
Yes.
Now, what has happened to those texts?
Well, again, that was a test from the Almighty, the Lord, the Almighty Allah. He wanted to show people that they cannot be entrusted with keeping that word intact. So when the Torah was revealed to the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, we believe that over the years it has been changed to cater for some special interests from the carriers of that knowledge. And the same thing happened with the gospel that was revealed to the Prophet Jesus, peace be upon him. So again, since the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was to be the final prophet and messenger to receive a message from the Almighty, it had to be eternal, it had to be universal, and it had to remain intact over the years. That's why the Almighty pledged that He is the one who's going to be preserving it from being changed.
This is the Quran?
Yes.
Okay. And this is why Muslims believe in those other previous books but don't actually believe in them. Is that correct?
Well, they believe in the authentic book that was revealed from God to these different prophets and messengers, whom we follow.
Yes.
We follow. We believe in all of these prophets. We love them. We follow them, and we worship none of them.
Yes.
Not even the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. We worship only the creator of all of these prophets.
Not even
Allah.
the Quran? We do not worship the Quran?
We do not worship the Quran, although we use it in our prayers as a form of ritual to be performed in the prayer, because these words are the words of God, so they have special significance. They are not equal to any other human words.
But Muslims only believe in the worship of God. That's
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Now, I want to maybe get into some of the similarities between the Holy Quran and the Bible, the Torah, the Old Testament. What are some similarities, some differences? Let's start with some of the similarities.
You're going to find the majority of the part is similarities. You're going to find some few differences, but however, some of these differences are cardinal or major differences.
Sure.
But at the end, you're going to find that the majority is similarities between the two books, because again, they were sent from the same creator for the same purpose to people who had the same mission, which is guiding mankind. Therefore, the message itself did not change. You're going to find some similarities, for example, in some of the stories of the different prophets and messengers. When you read, for example, the story of the prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, and there's a whole surah in the Quran dedicated to the story of the prophet Joseph, peace be upon him, you're going to find a lot of similarity between this story and what's in the Bible. When it comes to some of the laws, for example, the laws dealing with injury or the laws dealing with killing an innocent person, you're going to find that the verdict or the law is exactly the same as it was revealed to the prophet Moses, peace be upon him. So again, God the Almighty does not change.
So some of the core beliefs are the same in pretty much across all the books?
Absolutely, absolutely.
What
And it's quite interesting that in one of the Surah Al-Shu'ara, for example, God the Almighty keeps telling us about the stories of the different prophets. They all start the same way, they all end the same way, and in between it's just a brief description of the story of that prophet. It's like a rolling wave that starts, ends, just to show us that it's the same mode of action. They start inviting their people to the worship of the Creator. Some people believe, some disobey. Those who believe are saved, those who disobey are destroyed. And then starts another cycle.
Now, what are some of the differences between, let's just say, the Holy Quran and the Bible?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not an expert on the Bible.
Sure.
But today you're going to find the Bible in different languages. People use the different languages and different interpretations or different translations for the worship. So sometimes words are lost in translation and the meanings are ambiguous. However, the Quran, since it has not been as a form of worship, you cannot use the translation or the interpretation as a way of worship. You have to use the exact same text, and that's the way of preserving it.
Now, do you believe that because the Bible, at the time of Jesus, peace be upon him, he spoke a language, Aramaic,
Yes.
which is not even spoken now.
Absolutely.
It's a dead language. Do you believe that that's part of the reason how the words, the meanings, the explanations in the Bible has changed over time?
It is. And another reason actually is that the Bible as it's known today is just the narration of Jesus' life, peace be upon him, on the tongue of some of his followers. So you're going to find, for example, the same situation described in different ways with a different sequence of events depending on who is narrating. That's not the case for the Quran.